Hi, my name is ZVEX, and this is the InventoBox. It comes in two forms right now. The first one is $2.99. When you get it, it doesn't even make a sound. There's 4 thumb screws that hold it shut. I'm only using 2 right now. You open it up, and it's got an experimenter socket inside for designing your products, or designing up your own pedal, or building up someone's schematic. So, if you want to do something with this, you're going to have to get some parts and find a schematic. Perhaps you'll go online and find a woolly mammoth schematic. A lot of lovely people like to publish my schematics online.
Yeah.
Parts you'll have to procure yourself. You can't get those through the internet. They won't come out through your USB port, but you can order them from Mauser or other places. So you got your parts, you got your schematic. You look at the schematic and you find out which pots go in what spots. You look around on this particular piece to find the values of the pots that you need. There's these, and it comes with a toolkit, which includes a few extras. There's a little screwdriver to remove the knobs. And the first thing you do, after you find where the pots are located on here that you need to get all in a row to build your effect, you decide where you want your pots to be. Perhaps you want the 4 pots for the woolly mammoth to be right here. Well, you take the little screwdriver, remove each knob, take these out. There's a little wrench that removes this nut underneath. Take them out and move them around until you get the values that you want all in a row. Put this back together. You clip the leads down on your parts so you can get them close to the experimenter socket, but you may leave them long enough so they go deep into the holes. And then you interconnect them with this jumper kit. It comes with a full set of jumpers. They're color-coded by length. Once you've got that all put together and it's ready to go, there's a kit of wires, these interconnect cables that go between this and the inside here. That's how you get to your stop switches, so you can hook up your different channels. In this case, we're only going to be using one channel because we're just building one fuzz. So if you look at this little panel here, here's the instructions for it. You switch this little switch to one circuit to eliminate this stop switch so you won't use the second channel. If you left it turned on, you might step on it and then it would turn off the whole pedal. You don't want that because there's nothing hooked up to this one. So you flip this position, flip this to this position to turn off the switch and get rid of it, and you flip this over here to get rid of this LED so it doesn't flash when you step on the switch. Now this is gone, it doesn't do anything, and only this one's going to work. And you'll have to hook up to here, and if you can't see, it's got a little work light. Lights up inside there.
Wow. And
these little cables go inside and then go up onto the board. Now when you're done, it's going to look a little something like this. This is the $3.99 version. This one includes 3 modules that I designed, 2 of which are ZVEX products, a super hard-on and a fuzz factory. And the third one, this third module is a tone stack from a Marshall amplifier, bass, mid-range, and treble. I was thinking to myself, why not add a little feature of the fuzz factory and give you tone control? So the way I wired this one up is I located all of the pots for the fuzz factory here, and then the tone control here, and the super hard-on over there. And I wired it up so that the fuzz factory goes directly into the tone control, and that goes to the first switch, and the second switch, the second channel, is the boost super hard-on here. If you look at this, you'll see these 2 wires here that are shielded go up from channel 1 to go into the fuzz factory and the tone control, and these 2 go up to channel 2, the super hard-on here, and these 2 little wires are just the 9-volt power. So you're using a total of 5 cables to get the 2 channels working. When you get this all built up and you want to make sure that it's working right, and you want to step on the switches and actually use it like a stop box but still be working on the electronics, that's where these 2 pieces come into play. These 2 little whammy bar looking things are hangers that go right into these screw holes. Now you have access to every single knob. You can turn these knobs with your fingers, switches, everything can be touched, and you can put it on the floor and stomp on these switches with the tips of your toes so you can test it while it's still open and tweak it. Make sure the wire's in the right place, change capacitors. And speaking of changing capacitors, I left this sort of adjustable. The Fuzz Factory, for example, people have complained to me for many years that they think the Fuzz Factory is too bright, especially if they use a bright, clear setting for their guitar amp. So you could change that. Besides having this tone stack on here so you can turn down the treble, you can also alter the parameters of the Fuzz Factory by pulling out jumpers. For example, here's a jumper on the Fuzz Factory right here. You can pull that out and I'll have instructions for how you can tweak the thing by putting in a capacitor and changing the sound. You could change the input and output capacitors and the internal capacitor, as well as remove the germanium transistors from the socket and change those to a different brand if you find some other germaniums online. Same thing with a super hard-on. It doesn't have to be a clean booster. It can be a screaming tree or a range master if you pull out these jumpers and put in other capacitors and change the frequency response. This thing too, you can tweak the center points for the treble, mid-range, and bass on the tone stack so that you don't have to make it sound like a Marshall tone stack. It can sound like any tone stack you find online by pulling these out and changing capacitors right here. Or you can just shift the top end a little bit for your own personal preferences without really knowing what you're doing. Follow the instructions that I give you that let you tweak it up or down, make the treble get wispier or bring it down into the mid-range more. This band on here keeps these wires in place so that they can't come out. When you're done wiring it up, you slip it over to this side. Now if you build something up on here, and this doesn't have that problem, but if you build something up on here that's too tall, and it's all done, and it's perfect, and you love it, and you go to close the box up, and you discover you can't get it shut because it's too tall, and now it's sticking up like that, and you're really sad because you have to do something, you don't know what. I'm going to make these U-shaped brackets that pop in here from the sides and meet in the middle. That'll form a 1-inch high wall. And inside the brackets in the corners will be little tubes that you can put screws down through them to keep them trapped so they can't get away. And the box will end up in a shape like this. It'll step up like that, but it'll still look really nice and be completely sealed. The nice thing about this is you can take it to a gig and it's totally sturdy, it's totally stable. If you're using individual components on this thing, it comes with 4 of these soft pieces of foam that go down into the tray in the enclosure. When you put this down on top of it, it holds the components in place. The combination of this band and this, nothing can get away. In the future, I'm going to be adding more enclosures. So I cut a window on this side of the box, and this ZVEX plate can come off and be stuck on the outside of another enclosure. And you'll be able to add on, bolt in, a tube module, much like the Nano head, which will have a high voltage power supply, 4 triodes in 2 tubes, and a output transformer that can be used for perhaps a microphone preamp or a power amp. You can have 2 pedals and a power amp all in one little brick, and it's all tube, all analog. I'm also going to be making a 16-stage sequencer module, and that takes advantage of all 16 of these pots, each pot having its own LED, so it could be a traditional analog sequencer. And if you use it in the simplest form, you can build it up, get it all wired, and then just use these 2 jacks in the input and output for your voltage control outputs to drive perhaps a motor or something else that uses voltage control. With the tall addition, with that thing that makes it taller, the 1-inch high thing that you put on here, the ability to put in more circuitry becomes possible. You can stack up circuit boards and make modules that are like a brick of circuit boards that are stuck together. Up to 15 square inches of circuitry jammed down into this box. Isn't that great? And it leaves room for other people to develop products too. I mean, if anybody wants to develop a module, they can. A guy named Ton, who designs for Electro-Harmonics, does a lot of tube design. Pure Audio, or is it called Pure? No, Pure Tube in Germany, posted on Harmony Central yesterday a module for a delay that he called InventoLay. And it's specifically designed for the InventoBox. And I had introduced the InventoBox because we had to apply for the patent last week. I introduced the InventoBox only on Wednesday. Nobody had ever seen the inside of it before, and I put it up on Wednesday. And he already had completed the module and put it together with the DIP pins on it and published it online with a picture saying, "It's ready. I'll show it to you at Music Messe." And so I'm going to see him in Frankfurt next month, or the month after, and we'll look at it, plug it in, and hook it up. He also has audio samples online of it too. So anybody is going to be able to make, you know, it's completely open source. Anybody can make modules for it and sell them. I hope to have an iPhone app so you can buy the modules directly from me, and I'll take a cut. You want to make a module for it?